Hello dear students, welcome to the lecture series on microelectronics. This is lecture number 27. Dear students, in today's lecture we are going to see how we can use the active load for common gate amplifier. In the previous lecture we saw how we can use current source as active load for common source amplifier configuration, and we also discussed how the current source itself can be used as one of the active load, and we have derived many terms and relations when it comes to common source amplifier considering active load. We also had a thorough discussion on the advantage that active load will possess in terms of gain. We had a discussion on common source amplifier, that is CMOS implementation of common source amplifier, which is commonly known as, whenever we talk of common source amplifier with an active load, it is also famously known as CMOS implementation of common source amplifier. We did a thorough in detailed discussion on the gain analysis with respect to that particular amplifier configuration. Now in today's lecture we are going to see a similar exercise, or we are going to do a similar exercise wherein we are going to concentrate on common gate amplifier configuration, and in turn we will see how active load can be used for common gate amplifier configuration, and how it is going to benefit the amplifier in terms of gain, in terms of input resistance, and in terms of output resistance. We are going to do the in detailed discussion of common gate amplifier configuration. Now once a student understands this particular concept, he will be in a position to know how we can use active load for common gate amplifier configuration and its usages also. So let us proceed with today's lecture. Now before proceeding further, let's try to understand the level at which today's lecture fall in terms of Bloom's taxonomy. As we have already discussed, the Bloom's taxonomy is a hierarchical model which is used to classify the educational learning objectives into levels of complexity and specificity, and there are 6 levels of learning. And today's lecture, once we finish today's lecture, once we summarize the entire concept, you will understand that today's lecture fall in the category of understand the concept and applying the understood concept to obtain the results. So today's lecture fall in level number 2 and level number 3. Now to begin with common gate amplifier configuration, recall common source amplifier configuration which is been shown over here. Now this is a simple common source amplifier configuration which I have shown, and this is my active load, which is basically a constant current source. Now in all the cases I need to be assuming that MOSFET is in saturation, because since I am dealing with amplifier, I should ensure that the device is in saturation region. Since I am not doing the experiment over here, while doing the experiment I will be ensuring that that particular device or this particular MOSFET will be in the saturation region, but when I am theoretically analyzing the things or explaining the concept, I need to assume that this MOSFET is in the saturation region. Now there are few things that I need to be assuming on top of MOSFET being in saturation region. That is VBS, that is voltage between body and source, I assume it to be 0, and ID can be given as GM into VGS. Now if I consider the channel length modulation effect, or if I consider the body effect in line with all the concepts, then I may need to add one more term along with GM, that will be GMB. So that is the transconductance or the body transconductance that I need to be including if I consider the body effect also. So this is to give a glimpse of how I proceed with respect to amplifier. I have taken an example of common source amplifier. Fine. Now here is your common gate amplifier configuration. Now as we know that common gate amplifier configuration, wherein my gate terminal will be the grounded one. So my input will be applied to the source, and here I am going to take the output at the drain point over here. And again I am not going to elaborately show how this active load looks. Of course this active load I repeatedly mention everywhere as constant current source or CCS. That means there will be a MOS current, constant current source being attached over here. Since I cannot show it every time, I am just writing in the place of that entire circuit, I'm just showing it in a symbolic way. Now look here, my input is applied to the source terminal. So this is VGS, that is voltage between gate and source. That's the voltage between body and source. And if I want to show the same circuit in terms of its schematic view or in terms of its cross-sectional view, here is the circuit, that is which is mentioned in the figure D. That is MOS IC of common gate amplifier configuration. Now we also know that sometimes this body terminal is also known by that name, back gate, or the body effect is famously known as back gate effect. So like I was mentioning here in terms of the common, specifically why I repeatedly use the term this back gate, because gate here I will be considering it as a front gate, and this I will be considering it as a back gate. Now since ID can be represented by the term GM into VGS, that is voltage between gate and source, that is what your VGS, and if I consider the body effect or back gate effect also, then a new term will come into picture, that is GMB, which is also known as body transconductance. Now let's try to analyze the detailed common gate amplifier with active load. So this is the main circuit of the common gate amplifier configuration. Kindly go through it properly. I have a signal voltage being applied over here with a signal resistance RS, and rest all the terms are intact as I have shown here in the previous slide. Okay, now the analysis part will remain everything same. In fact, the way how we have done the analysis for common source, discrete common source amplifier, discrete common gate amplifier, and to the matter discrete common drain amplifier will remain exactly the same. The only major difference here would be I'll be considering the load as active load, and I'll also be considering the impact of body effect, that is small R naught. So considering all these pattern into picture, let's try to break this main circuit into its equivalent circuit. Now I could use the T equivalent circuit model, or I could use the small equivalent circuit model, depending on the ease of the application. I could use any of the model. Now here I have used, in the place of MOSFET, I am using a T equivalent model, since that suits the circuit and that will make my analysis little bit easier than using the small signal equivalent model. Now just replace this MOSFET with its equivalent T equivalent model. So I have a gate, drain, source. So I have a gate, drain, source. Between drain and this particular point, I have a current flowing GM into VGS, and this resistance is named by the term 1 over GM. And since I am considering the channel length modulation effect or body effect, small R naught also will come into picture. Now I have considered the load resistance at the drain end, so RL is here, and across which I'll be taking the output voltage. Now few things I need to be mentioning over here. Sorry. Since I have used the T equivalent model, then in order to obtain the different parameters of this common gate amplifier configuration, like input resistance, output resistance, and the gain, I need to be following certain pattern. Like for example, if I want to determine the input resistance, then I need to understand where is my input voltage. Now look over here, here is your input voltage, which is Vi, and now from this input voltage, what is that resistance that you can see? Now if I just peek in over here, the resistance I can see is not as simple as that of what we did with respect to common source amplifier. I can see a lot of resistance, and the current also travels through different paths. So in order to get a firm value of input resistance, I need to trace the input current. Now what is my input current? Input current is that current which is generated because of the input voltage. And what is that input current represented as? It is represented by the term II. So II is the current which is entering the source terminal over here, and then it is getting divided between, or it is taking two paths, one which is entering 1 by GM resistance, the one which is entering the R naught terminal. Now since I am most interested in getting the input resistance considering the channel length modulation effect, and also I know that the current passes through this R naught terminal and reaches the RL value over here. So I'll try to apply the Kirchhoff's current law and try to get two different currents which are passing through 1 over Gm and R naught. Now let's say if II is the input current and the first current that enters, or the current that enters 1 over Gm. Now basically what is that 1 over Gm current? It is nothing but the Gm into VGS current. So this current, whatever that I can see over here in this path, this is nothing but Gm into VGS. Now here what exactly, see, usually when we say Gm into VGS, it is not exactly Gm into VGS, it is actually Gm into Vi. Now since Vi happens to be VGS, I repeatedly use the term VGS, specifically in terms of common source amplifier. Now this is no more a common source amplifier and I cannot use the term VGS. I should use the term Gm into Vi. So the current which is entering in this particular path of 1 by Gm is having a value of Gm into Vi. So II is the current over here which is coming to the source terminal and it is entering the 1 over Gm terminal with a value Gm into Vi. Now what will be the current that will be entering R naught? So the remaining current between these two currents, that will be entering over here, which means II minus of this current, whatever the current it has gone over here, the rest remaining current that will be entering over here. So which means II minus Gm into Vi will be the current that is entering your R naught terminal or R naught path. So again, if I can just apply KCL, current entering the node must be equal to current leaving the node. You can just cross check. II must be equal to Gm into Vi plus II minus Gm into Vi. If I substitute or if I summate all these two current equation, what I can get, these Gm into Vi and Gm into Vi cancels out and I am going to get the same II current, which means my analysis is right. So II minus Gm into Vi is entering R naught and finally it reaches the RL terminal and then I can say that output will be coming over at the terminal D and ground. Now if this is the case, let's try to apply KVL and the path I have shown over here and try to obtain an equation, and then if I finally obtain a value of Vi over II, because Vi is the input voltage, II is the input current, Vi over II will be your input resistance and whatever the value I am going to get, that will be your input resistance value. As simple as that. So straight away without wasting the time, we'll try to apply the Kirchhoff's voltage law. So Vi, the current is over here, plus Vi, then current leaves the R naught terminal minus R naught multiplied by II minus Gm into Vi, then it comes over here to terminal RL minus II into RL. So as simple as that. So many of you may be following some other notion, but this is a notion that I usually follow with respect to Kirchhoff's voltage law. Current is leaving this terminal, so I am writing it as plus Vi, and though the resistance doesn't have any terminal, I just say current is leaving over here. I say this is a positive node and this is a negative node, so minus R naught multiplied this by this entire term, and then this is plus minus, current is leaving over here, hence minus II into RL. As simple as that. Now let's try to simplify this. Vi minus R naught into II plus Gm into Vi into R naught minus II into RL. And then if I just try to take out the common terms, Vi is over here, Vi is over here. If I take out the common term, I'll get 1 plus Gm into R naught. II is here and here. If I take out, I'll get R naught plus RL, and if I simplify, I'm going to get R naught plus RL divided by 1 plus Gm into R naught. So this is the term I'm going to get, and straightforward I can say that this will be my input resistance for this entire common gate amplifier configuration with current source as a load or with active load. Now in the initial stage, I said I'll be considering the effect of body effect, and that's the reason I consider this R naught. And when I consider this R naught, I need to be considering the body transconductance also, which is represented by the term GMB. Now remember, body transconductance will straight away have an addition impact with respect to the device transconductance. Hence, if I want to write or rewrite the expression including the body transconductance, then this expression will take a straight away form of R naught plus RL divided by 1 plus GM plus GMB multiplied by R naught. No complexity involved in representing the input resistance including GMB. So without GM I can write this. So this is what your input resistance of the common gate amplifier looks. Now let's try to understand the importance or the effect of load resistance on the input resistance or input impedance of the common gate amplifier. Now I have three different cases, one with RL equal to 0, which means the load resistance is shorted, one with RL equal to R naught, and the other with one equal to RL equal to infinite. Now if RL is a short circuit, which means there is no load resistance, then I can substitute directly, I can ignore this RL and my equation will reduce to R naught divided by 1 plus GM into GMB. Or I can still further simplify this, dividing both numerator and denominator by R naught, that will fetch me this particular result. And since R naught, 1 upon R naught will be very low, I can ignore this particular term, and hence my input resistance will be purely dependent on the device transconductance when I don't have any load resistance. So that's very interesting point to understand. Now any amplifier's input resistance having direct dependency on the transconductance of the MOSFET is a good thing to go with it. Hence this is the preferred amplifier choice whenever we deal with an application where I want a direct dependency of the input resistance with respect to the transconductances of the devices. Now the second case where I consider RL is almost equal to R naught. Under this condition, I just try to replace RL with R naught and try to simplify this. That will lead to an expression 2 R naught upon 1 plus GM plus GMB multiplied by R naught. Upon resimplifying, I am again going to have a relation which says R is equal to 2 times 1 upon GM plus GMB. Again, almost very similar to the. So that also speaks a lot on the dependency of input resistance on the transconductance. Now the third case, when I say RL is infinite, which also means that the common gate amplifier having an open circuit load resistance. So under that scenario, it's very simple to see. When I substitute RL equal to infinite, then definitely my input resistance also will be having an infinite value. So these are the three cases that we can have an analysis with respect to the input resistance of the common gate amplifier configuration with active loads. Moving ahead, what would be the output resistance? Now the output resistance, in order to identify the output resistance, I should peek inside the circuit from the output terminal by attaching a test voltage. Now this test voltage is nothing but an virtual, or I can say voltage which you are applying at the output side, just to figure out what if I apply an voltage at the output terminal and then pass on the current, how does the circuit behave, and whatever the voltage and the current it is generated from the output test voltage, I get the output resistance from that particular test voltage. Now here I am considering Vx as my test voltage and the current generated by that particular source Ix as my test current. Now this test voltage again will follow the path of the Vx, then R naught, and then moving down the lane to the source and then to the ground. The voltage across the source, here I am not considering it as input because I am just making the signal voltage as 0. Remember, when I am applying any test voltage to find the output resistance, I need to make the input voltage to be equal to 0. So whatever the voltage that I am seeing over here, it is the voltage that is generated because of the current Ix multiplied by the resistance Rs. Now again I'll be applying the KCL first and then KVL. KCL in order to identify what is the current that is flowing in different nodes. Now here in a simple terms, so this is my GM into VGS. Usually what I say, I just repeated in a previous slide, the current input current or the current drain current is usually represented by the term GM into VI. Since in the common source amplifier I say VI will be equal to VGS, Hence, I say it will be always GM into VGS when it is in terms of common source amplifier. Now here I don't have the common source concept coming into picture. I have the common gate term amplifier configuration. Since I cannot be using the VGS term. So which means my ID or the drain current will be having a value GM into V. And what is that V? V is nothing but the voltage that is being generated because of the current Ix and resistance Rs. So GM into V is the current that is flowing in this particular terminal 1 by GM resistance, and Ix is the current that is coming out over here. And what is the remaining current? That is that is Ix minus GM times V. So again, if I apply the KCL, current entering the node must be equal to current exiting the node. If I do the summation of this and this, I am going to get the Ix current. Hence, all the current values I am taking are correct. So now I will apply the Kirchhoff's voltage law through this loop. Simple again, Vx minus Ix minus GM into V multiplied by R0. So this is the current that is flowing over here. That current is multiplied with this resistance. Now what is the current that is flowing here? The current that is flowing over here is this voltage, this current. So Ix minus GM multiplied by R0 will be my next term, minus Ix into Rs, because this is grounding, getting grounded over here, and current is exiting at this particular node. I am considering the sign as minus. Again, the sign convention I am going to leave it as a comfort to the students who in the way they wish to take, because some may take the negative first and then positive next, and some may take positive first and negative next. It all depends on the way how they traverse the loop, but this is the concept that I usually prefer to follow. That is Vx minus R0 times Ix minus GM into V minus Ix into Rs. Now let's try to substitute the different values. The V value is what? V is nothing but Ix into Rs. I substitute over here. Then rest of the terms are intact. I just try to simplify all these terms. Vx minus Ix into R0 minus GM Ix Rs R0 minus Ix into Rs is equal to 0. I am interested into finding Vx by Ix. So I try to take out Ix term common among all these terms, and this is the common term Ix, and the other terms are in the bracket. So finally Vx upon Ix, that is straight away known as your output resistance, is represented by this particular term GM R0 plus GM Rs R0 plus Rs. Now again, if I want to consider the even the impact of the body transconductance, then that will have an addition impact in this particular term, the R0 plus GMB multiplied by Rs R0 plus Rs. So that will be your output resistance. And finally, coming down to the voltage gain, AV0, that is open circuit voltage gain, in a simple way, I am just going to apply the KVL, the voltage for the loop. So I am going to start with the output voltage, and then I am going to start with the I into R. See, now I am going to start traversing the output. I am not going to replace all the current with the different terms. I am just going to say I as I. So minus V0 plus I into R0 plus Vi is equal to 0. So starting from the output to the input, once I simplify, I can be written in terms of GM into V. So what is GM? GM can be replaced as GM plus GMB, and V is nothing but your input voltage, Vi. Once I do the simplification and do the V0 by Vi, I am going to get this particular term as my expression for the overall open circuit voltage gain for the common gate amplifier with active loads. Now this gain expression clearly shows that common gate amplifier is a non-inverting type amplifier, and this is one of the important relation that usually appears in lot of formulas, especially with respect to common gate amplifier configurations. So kind of a very interesting relation to remember. So this is all about your common gate amplifier with active loads, how the input resistance, output resistance, and the gain behaves with respect to common gate amplifier, especially in terms of active loads. Now to summarize the today's lecture, in the today's lecture we did a lot of exercise specifically with respect to the common gate amplifier with active load, focusing mainly on the input resistance, output resistance, and then overall voltage gain. And in the input resistance, we did figure out 3 different cases wherein we saw Rn is equal to, RL is equal to 0, RL equal to infinite, Rn and RL equal to small r0. and we figured out the different expressions, and we saw that the input resistance have a direct dependency on the transconductance of the device. That is one of the interesting and very useful relation with respect to the input resistance of the common gate amplifier configuration. And we also saw how the amplification can be done with the help of the common gate amplifier using active loads. So this is the summary of today's lecture, and the possible the semester end question could be a straightforward question: explain the operation of common gate amplifier configuration using active loads. If this kind of question is being asked, then you are supposed to derive the entire thing whatever we have learnt over here. Now remember, in the very first slide we discussed about the Bloom's level, that we say that it was L2 and L3, that is, it is understanding and then applying the concept. That's why we name the lecture of this entire session in the level of level 2 and level 3. Hope this session is being clarified in all aspects. Thank you for the patience listening.